Hey, you know
Hello.
what time it is. It's mule and donkey time. We're talking mules. We're talking donkeys. We're talking smoked salmon in Alaska today. Hey, my name's Dave.
Oh
This
yeah,
here's Steve Edwards. Every
right
week
there.
we get together to talk about mules and donkeys. This week is no exception. And yeah, last week it was a little bit different of a week. Steve had been traveling. Now he was back at the ranch, but I was in Alaska, and I'll bring up a photo here and show it in a little bit. But I'll tell you what, folks, I went fishing, and I'm not an outdoorsman. I went fishing. I went flossing for sockeye salmon, and I sent one picture to Steve, and all of a sudden, all Steve could talk about was smoked salmon. I think I
Mm.
got about 50 texts of Steve saying, are you doing smoked salmon? Have you done smoked salmon yet? I love smoked salmon. Steve, you got a taste for smoked salmon, do you?
Oh yeah. Matter of fact, I got a little bit right here. I was tasting it so much that I went in our freezer and had to get some. But mm, uh. But I'm waiting for years because this is about a year old here.
Yeah, so today what I thought we would do is we would actually just make today's entire program Steve eating smoked salmon. So
There
Steve,
you
go
go.
ahead, take it away. He's just going to eat
Oh,
smoked salmon for 60 minutes. Let's get it
oh
started.
yeah. Oh yeah. It's perfect. How come I'm so blurry and everything?
You know what? I thought the exact same thing. You know what? Let me check real quick. I have a direct connection. Yeah, my connection is direct. I wonder if there's something on my computer. Well, hey, while other folks are joining us and while we get going, I will do a little bit of experimentation and see if I can fix it. But hey,
Right.
before we get started with our questions, I just want to welcome everyone. I want to welcome you. I want to say that we're so glad that you're here, spending a little bit of time with us. And before we get started on anything else, now today is July 16th, 2024. We are going to make it a good day. We're going to make it a great day because we only get one. But if you're watching this in the future, you will have already missed the thing that I'm about to tell you about. And what is it that I'm about to tell you about? Ladies and gentlemen, on July 24th, we're going to be doing a live clinic. It's a webinar clinic. We're going to be doing it at 5 p.m. Arizona time. So that's 5 p.m. Pacific, 6 p.m. Mountain, 7 p.m. Central, 8 p.m. Eastern. We're talking all about white hairs. You know, right behind the withers, up by the withers, and sometimes extending a little bit further back, you see some white marks start to develop underneath the saddle. What are those? Why are they there? What can you do to prevent them? What does it come from? That's what we're going to be talking about. And I'm going to tell you folks right now, it is so much more than just saying the saddle. As a matter of fact, the saddle, yes, but there's something that a lot of people do that affect the saddle that then impact the mule or the donkey to develop those white hairs. We're going to be talking all about that. So I'm going to put a link in the comment section. Y'all can sign up. It's absolutely free. That's right. It's our favorite F word is free. We want you there next Wednesday, July 24th. Now, what are we doing here today? Well, we're talking mules and donkeys for the next 60 minutes. We are your tour guide into the theme park of the Supreme Equine. And 60 minutes is all we've got, and sometimes that's all we need. Sometimes we go a little bit over, but you're going to be the one that helps us determine that. So first and foremost, here's what we need from you. We want to know that you're watching. Put your name, where you're watching from, and what the weather is like today in the comments section. We want to say hello to you. We want to hear what life is like in your neck of the woods. The second thing that we ask is that you make this show awesome, and you can do that very easily by putting whatever mule or donkey question you have in the comments section. There's no question we've answered too many times. There's no question that's off limits. Heck, if you got a problem with some of Steve's product and you're like, hey, it's not working the way you said, we want to talk about that too. Nothing is off limits. We want to make sure that you get the ride, that you get the drive, that you get the pack, that you get the full experience of what it is to own a mule or a donkey. And your questions make this program awesome. So go ahead, any and every mule or donkey question you have in the comment section. Third thing we ask is that you share the broadcast with friends and family. Real easy. Facebook and YouTube give you like buttons. Click those. They give you subscribe and follow buttons. Click those. And they give you the ability to tag friends and family in the comment section. you can do that as well. So, Steve, we're going to say hello to Ashley, who is your fan watching from Minneapolis. It's hot, and Ashley loves smoked salmon. So thank you very much, Ashley. Appreciate the affirmation. I think Ashley's in on a full hour of Steve just sitting in front of the camera eating smoked salmon. Dave O'Brien, East Texas, 100 degrees on a beautiful Texas summer day. Love hearing that. Good to have you here, Dave. Bill Rose, sharing to Mules of Ohio and Mules of Indiana. Clouds and scattered storms in the Midwest, 80 degrees. Hope you enjoy whatever there is to enjoy and hope you stay safe whenever that is called for. Dave O'Brien says, Steve, I've got 4 equine in the same general area. 3 do not seem to be affected by flies or pests at all. But my 2-year-old Molly has got little welts all over her legs and chest, with dime-sized sores on her face and back. The vet told me a while back to rub or pour on ivermectin on her. That helped temporarily. Fly spray works temporarily. Is there something I could put in her feed to make her a little less desirable to flies? Thank you. Great question. Steve, what do you say?
You know, I've tried a lot of things over the years, and I can't really say any one particular thing's good, other than buying what they call a fly sheet and put over the animal. But they usually get eat up really on their chest, underneath their bellies, some of them up around their muzzle, and this sort of thing. I've tried a little bit of vinegar in there. I've tried a little bit of garlic in there, and both have kind of worked. But it was only animals that I had here for a short time, so I can't just really put a finger on it and say this is what's going to work. We have I have a friend who has some natural products, and it works really good with this fly situation where they have a lot of fly bites in the front and it's kind of turned bloody, and she sprayed it on there. And that worked really good. And Dave can put the information up there for you for their website. But that's what I've used, and that works really well. And I can tell you that I've also get this. Yeah, call me later on, Dave. I'll tell you. Well, I'll just share with you all. I'll take Benadryl. Yep, Benadryl. About 4 of them. And I'll crush it up and I'll put it in their grain, and I'll hand feed them the grain so that they get that. And the Benadryl seemed to help as well. Now, remember, I'm no vet. I can just tell you what I've tried, and you can try whatever you think you want to do. But I would definitely try a little bit of garlic in the water. Now, just like anything else, mules, mules are really suspect of water. So you might try some garlic salt and sprinkle it on some whole oats and try that. Or maybe even some garlic salt on a little bit of whole oats and put some honey over top of it with the whole oats, and that might be a thought for you. I've tried garlic and water, and I've tried garlic that way. So you might give those 2 a try.
Awesome. Great question. Thanks so much for the question. Appreciate it. Hey, Steve, I got a picture for you here. Check this one out right here.
Oh, man. I want to go fishing with that guy.
Look at that right there. So yeah. That was my first fish. Honestly, that's the first fish I can ever remember catching. Like I said, I'm not really an outdoorsman. That may come as a surprise to folks. I know I just exude this pioneer man vibe. But when we went out fishing, we were flossing for sockeye. And within like the first 20 minutes, I caught one. Within the first hour, I had caught 2. And within the first 3 hours, I had caught 3 sockeye salmon. Look at that right there.
Yeah.
So I told my sister-in-law, who actually has spent her entire life in Alaska. She's an outdoors woman. She loves the outdoors. She loves hiking, fishing, ice climbing, all this stuff. I told her, I was like, hey, take one more real quick. I want people to think I've done this before. So I didn't smile. I just held it up there, letting people know, hey, this is just a normal Tuesday for me. So really, I'm as proud as it gets, but I wanted to play it cool. I think I pulled it off all right. Look at that fish right there.
Hey, you did. Look like a professional fisherman there.
Far from it. Good. But it's funny. My dad, he hadn't caught one yet, and he's talking underneath his breath to my brother. He goes, I can't believe it. David's never fished a day in his life, and he caught 3 on the first day. My dad hadn't caught any yet, and so that was real fun. Anyways, we really enjoyed that. That's the picture I took away there. Hey, I want to say hello to Laura watching from Switzerland. Means we've gone international. Appreciate you taking us international, Laura. We love going international, and you made it possible. Eric is watching in New Mexico, where it's only 105. It's cooled down a little bit here today, too. It's not in the teens, which is nice. Leslie is watching from Kentucky Lake, cloudy, 80 degrees. Kentucky Lake, my stomping grounds, the Moors. Kathy is watching from Houston, Texas. Things have been crazy, and I've missed a few shows, but here today. And I'll tell you what, I love it, Steve, that there are so many people every single week who wind up joining us. And there's folks who maybe can't join us every single week, but they are showing up in the replays. They're leaving comments on all of the replays. They're showing up live when they can. And Kathy, it's such an encouragement to have you show up when you do. Everyone, yep. Leslie, everyone, Dave O'Brien, Bill Rose, everyone. We love it. It's so encouraging for us, and we hope it's encouraging you for you as well. Hey, Beth is here from Burdett, South Australia. 4 degrees Celsius. I almost burned her out of the atmosphere. 4 degrees Celsius, 14 top today. Enjoy it. Beth, Laura says, sorry, this may have been answered already many, many times again. What should I check or measure to see if a saddle fits a donkey? I love this question, Laura, because I asked the same thing of Steve, and I was shocked by his answer. Steve, what is the answer to the question there for Laura?
And the question is, what should I measure? Nothing.
Yeah, how do I know that the saddle is the right fit for my donkey? What size do I need to measure to get the right size saddle for my donkey?
None. No measurements at all. And the reason that is because let's just use some hypotheticals. Just on a weekend ride, the average 1,200-pound mule will drop 150 pounds. 150 pounds. So what did we used to do? We used to add an extra pad or an extra blanket, or what we did, and the poor mule still paid the price, we over-tightened the cinches. Now, you got a donkey. Now, if we measure your donkey in January, when we do like everybody does, and we got some people that send us some pictures, and when we do the webinar, you're going to see pictures of different measurements, which is worthless, because here it is. You measure him in January when he's fat and sitting around, and then you measure him in July when you've been riding him and working him, you're going to have 2 different measurements. Why? You are measuring muscle mass, which can change in a short while. So measurements you don't need. Here's the next thing. I have people say they put the saddle on and say, yep, it works. That fits good. Or I've had clinics where people said, yep, my saddle, it's a horse saddle, but it fits just right. No pressure points. Oh, really? No pressure points. Well, it's impossible, folks. Impossible. Do you hear these words? Impossible to put a saddle on and say it fits. No way in the world. And I've had people say, well, they shove their hand up in there to see if there's any pressure points. Really? Well, what good is that going to do? Because if you don't have the whole saddle tree, like on my trees, they're 15 and a half inches long. Out of 15 and a half inches, guess what I want? I only want about 12 inches actually touching the animal, because there's certain places that shouldn't be touched. Let's go back. What do? You don't. Okay? There's no measurements. The only way you can really see is put the tree up there and say, yep, it works. Here's the problem with that. Okay? And I've seen it with saddle fitters, saddle makers. They'll come out and they'll throw that tree up there and they'll get another tree and get another tree. Say, this one here's the best of them all. All right, well, wait a minute. It's not just the tree, but let's go back. What's the purpose of the bar? The purpose of the bar, and that's the part that lays on the donkey's back, on the mule's back. What's the purpose of the bar? To evenly distribute your weight across the animal's back so that you're not crippling it, so that he's comfortable, okay? He's comfortable. I have taken people who said, my horse tree fits good. And then I took a horse tree that I've got several trees, okay? And I put them up on their back. I said, okay, show me that this saddle really works. Show me how it does. And then, and you're all going to see this in the webinar. Dave's going to have a video of this. I'm going to put my hand on the saddle right where you sit, and you'll watch the tree actually go into the scapula right about where those white spots are. Or I'm going to take my hand and push down on the front, and the back end's going to come up. Why? Because we're not using the D-rings. Now listen, skirting, which goes around the saddle, which the D-ring's attached to, that's the most important part of that saddle. I mean, the tree is, the bars are, yes it is. But that skirting, the way it fits on the animal is correct. I had a guy send me a picture of his donkey. Nice donkey, okay? And the donkey is a Pega donkey. And this round saddle, great big old square skirted saddle, uneven, D-rings in the wrong place, and only one cinch. That's it. And I said, look, don't send me no more pictures of this donkey. Yeah, I just feel so bad for this donkey that people have to treat it like that. He said, what's the matter? The way it was trained. I said, look, there's a big difference what the training that's done in Brazil compared to the training that's done here in the United States. I went to Brazil in 2006 and 2012, and I was with the International Equus. They hired me to come and do symposiums there, and I did. Okay, and my symposium, I'm proud to say, they named it the top training of all of it. Now, this was horses and mules. I was the top trainer in both cases. Okay, because of the mule. So let's go back. The only way you're really going to be able to tell is to actually put that tree up there. And here's the problem. When you go into any store, any saddle shop, there's only two basic trees in there. One of them is semi-quarter horse, narrow. The other one is full quarter horse, wider. When you go wider on a mule or a donkey, you get upon the fat pocket, which is a 6th and 7th rib. And right there, you got a chance of knocking a rib out. Right there, you got a chance of crippling your animal. See, how do I know this? Because I've crippled a lot of animals. I have. I really feel bad about that, okay? But it was out of my stupidity. I followed everybody else that said, oh, this will be just fine. Oh, that horse saddle is just right. It'll work. No, it won't, okay? It may work for a certain time, because here's the problem, folks. Here's the problem. Is these mules and donkeys brace into the pain. Now, some of them have had enough. Just like one of my clients, he says every time he goes to tighten cinch, the mule goes to buck. Okay? He's finally had enough. He finally showed that he had a problem. Okay? What did I say? Go get the teeth floated. Go get the chiropractor done. Get that done. Okay? So let's go back. No, there's not really any way. I can tell you that any saddle that you put on that donkey's back, they're pretty much all the same. Going to be semi-quarter horse or quarter horse. I don't care what the name brand is. It's either going to be semi-quarter horse or quarter horse. Well, Steve, you got a mule saddle. No, I don't have a mule saddle. I've got a saddle I designed. My tree and my saddle is nothing like anybody else's out there. My rigging plays are different. The way the skirting is designed is different, okay? The way the saddle sits on the animal is different. And I am the only one, because I care for mules and donkeys. This is number one reason. I'm the only one that sends you a video out that says, do it like this, place the saddle like this. You cannot believe the amount of people who send me pictures some of the office horrible saddling jobs on these animals. Okay, watch my video. So there you are. That's the long and the short of it, Dave. You can't really tell. You can't put a saddle up there and say, "Yep, it fits." Impossible.
It shocked me. I, I didn't spend my life growing up around equine. Matter of fact, I spent very little of my life in the outdoors. I've already shared that today. So it made sense to me that, hey, mules are different sizes, get different size saddles. And when you first shared with me that it's the same size for all of them because of that bone structure, it really just has to do with the size of the rider. Um, I believed you because I trust you, but I didn't understand it. And then as we've talked over the years and you've explained that more and more and more, it has made a lot more sense to me. But really, the thing that sealed the deal was probably about 3 or 4 years ago. We were doing this program, and we had the same question, and there was some some doubt that that was actually the case. So what we did was we asked the people watching, hey, if you've got a Steve Edwards saddle and we want you to post the size of your mule and the saddle that you have. And the comments just came in. Folks with all different size mules, 13.2, 14.6, 15.1, all these different sizes. I got Steve Edwards saddles. It's perfect. My mule loves it. I love it. And that's what sealed the deal for me. I believed you, but actually getting that understanding come from hearing other people. And then, of course, live, Steve, at the clinics that we've done in the past at the ranch, when I'm filming those, folks bring their mules all different shapes and sizes, all different colors, all different types. And one by one, we put the saddle up there. And sure enough, it's exactly what that mule needs, especially compared to what they were using. So that's just, it's something that I understand the question because I was right there. And Laura, I hope that you appreciate the answer there. Because really what we want to do is help you, and we want to make sure that you have all the information so you can make a decision that's right for you. And hopefully that gets you closer. Steve, next question comes.
Dave, I think the best thing would be good for her is to send her a copy of that Mastering the Saddle Fit, so she can see all the different mules that we have there. And remember, the bone structure of that mule is a donkey, and so whatever you see goes on that mule is going to go in there. So that's the video that's going to lighten you guys up. It's going to show you a lot.
Yeah, that video, we went down to the Andrada Ranch just south of Tucson. It's Vail, Arizona, and there was a dozen mules down there. I don't know that there were any donkeys. There might have been. I don't remember, but there were about a dozen mules there, and we went from animal to animal to animal, showing the actual tree. It has that history. It has the reliability, that history, that heritage of the wood tree, but we have combined that with the technology of fiberglass. So in the past, you'd have these wood trees that would rot away, the moisture would get to them. Well, what we did was we took that wood tree, we shaped it for the structure of the mule and the donkey, and then we coated it with fiberglass so that it doesn't rot away and the wood is protected, unlike you would often do. What was it? Rawhide that would usually be covering it? Yeah.
I was just listening to you, Dave. You sounded like me there for a minute.
Well, I've been listening hard and I've been listening good over the years, Steve. I'm just trying to strut my stuff here. But it really is the combination of that history that folks love about the wood tree, but making it better and improving it over time. And so it's the Mule Saddle Training Course, Mastering the Saddle Fit. You're going to love the material. There's hours of material that you can take in, and it's absolutely free. I just put a comment free. Hey, here we go. I put a comment in the chat with a link. You can get that, Laura. You're going to really appreciate it, and I think you'll find it not only informative but entertaining. Next question comes in from Kaylee. We are in the Houston, Texas area. I've had plenty of horses in my life. I'm purchasing my first Colt John mule. Been Googling and researching what is best for mules' diets. I see they absorb and digest forage and such more efficiently than a horse, and my main worry is our grass pasture. Man, Kaylee is on it. At first, I thought this was a pro for our future mule, but I'm worried it will be too much for him. Man, her instincts are right on. I did figure that Timothy and orchard pellets hay is the way to go to feed him other than grass. Keep in mind, he will be a weanling when we get him 6 months old. Right now, he is on grass pasture with his mom, of course, and would be on the same when we get him. The specific type of grass, I'm unsure, but I'm willing to be figuring soon. Should we be concerned about letting him grow on grass? Is that best at his age to have the extra protein anyways? I'm likely overthinking it all, but just want him to have what he needs. Thank you. Here are a few pics of our boy Kelso. So Steve.
Kelso, that's quite a name.
Yeah.
There's a company that sells mules called Kelso Brothers. Same thing?
There you go. Yeah, same animal.
I mean, same. Is it? Did they buy it from the Kelso Brothers?
Oh, she does not say. It's an email that came through. So there you go, Kaylee. Steve, what would you have to say to Kaylee about Kelso's diet?
Well, here's the thing, folks. I want each one of you to go to a smorgasbord and spend the next 2 months there. You're going to gain a lot of weight. It is not for a mule. Protein isn't near as important as the carbohydrates. And you put that animal out there on that pasture, you put a beef out there, you're going to be butchering that beef in about 8 months. But that mule is going to be last year's lifetime. I cannot tell you the amount of people, and we got a lot of pictures of it too, of people who have put their animals out in a pasture, and then they find out that it's not going to work. They started having problems, and then they turn around and contacted me and said, wow, it worked. I took them off the pasture. Now they want to spend more time with me. See, they don't need you when they go out the pasture. They got everything they need. They got their food, they got their water, they got their friends. You have to be the herd leader, okay? You wouldn't just take your baby and put him out on the sidewalk and say, okay, kid, there's the world, hit it. No, you wouldn't do that, would you? Same thing with this. You need to be the herd leader. Your mule, just because you're feeding Timothy hay or orchard hay, let me tell you something. If Dave and I ate nothing but salmon over the next couple months and no vitamins and minerals, you got the picture? We cannot get all the vitamins and minerals that we need in one particular type of a diet. That's why I developed the diet that I did, okay? Dave can put in the comments there, and it's something that it's a place to start. It is not the place to go, okay? It's you use that ingredients, and you go to your store, and you say, hey, this is what I got. Now, don't send me the information saying, what do you think, Steve, okay? You're going to have to try it on your mule. The biggest thing you're going to be watching for is fat pockets. Across the crest of the neck, dock of the tail, across the top of the ribs, fat pockets, okay? Now, your little mule there is, yes, it's good to have the run and play out on a pasture and this sort of thing, and to have them eat on a pasture, man, that's good stuff for a short time, very short time. What I would do when I got that little mule home, he's not going out with any more animals. He's not going to spend any time but with me, period. When I brought Jess home at 6-week-old, my border collie puppy, he went with me everywhere. He did everything with me. I jumped in the truck, he jumped in the truck. We went out to work cattle, he went out to work cattle. I went down to feed animals, he went down with me, okay? He got to know what life was like, going to be like with me for his next years, okay? You got to do the same thing. With this mule, you are a predator. They are a prey animal. And when you want this animal to start wanting to not be afraid of you and to be part of you, when he comes home from mama, all heck's going to break loose, y'all, okay? He's going to want to spend, where's my mama? Where's my mama? He's going to go up and down the rails. He's going to be screaming and hollering. He's going to be looking for mama, period. And it's going to be quite a while before you finally get yourself squared away. You're going to be pulling your hair out because thinking, man, what did I do? Okay, that's normal. It's normal. You're a predator. a prey animal. They want to be with mama. There's more protection with other animals. So going back to it, the only way you're going to find out what the animal really needs is later on in his life. And some I wouldn't even mind doing it now, is do a hair follicle test or do a blood test and see exactly what vitamins and minerals your mule is going to need. Now, yes, you can go to a milling company, and they can make you up the exact same pellet as what I had started with, 30 years ago, 40 years ago. Okay, Lake and Light. And you can go to a milling company, and they can make that exact same feed up, identical. But will it work on your mule? You don't know until you start using it. You don't know until you start going down the trail. It's like my wife and I. She's got her vitamins. I got my vitamins. Okay, we got two different systems going here. So therefore, what do you have to do? Start feeding your orchard hay with your Timothy. That's okay. But remember this. If you cut early, if you have an early cut or first cut on your Timothy and orchard, it's going to be high in carbohydrates. Your second cut's going to be a little bit less. If you get a third cut, it's going to be a little bit less. Here in Arizona, we can get up to 3 cuts. So what should you be concerned with? Sugars. Because that is where not only will he be bouncing off the wall like a kid with candy, but also on top of that, okay? Get this, on top of that, what you're doing for him in the future. If you've ever seen a founder mule, don't ever have anybody tell you they got a different digestive system. They do not. It is identical to a horse. It's identical to a donkey. They still have their large and small intestines. You still got to float their teeth. You still got to worm them once or twice a year, okay? Then with your baby, you know what the most important part is to your baby? Most important part of your baby is to trim the feet and have the feet balanced every 4 to 6 weeks. Balanced. That way there's no crooked legs. Now, if he's got crooked legs, it might have been his daddy, because unfortunately, folks, a lot of you just look at, oh, he's a donkey. Yep, he's got the stinger, and the stinger makes babies, and you know what that stinger is? The penis, of course, right? And so we're gonna have baby. Wait a minute, what's the conformation? Look at that, Jack. What's the because you're gonna have that same conformation with that baby. With that baby. So go on back. You start with the feeding program that I had set up and go from there. The running and playing out there in a pasture by itself is not so bad, but I can tell you these babies can get in trouble so fast. Put them in a 20 by 20 stall. Keep them there. You start spending time with that baby.
Awesome. Great question. Appreciate it. And I love that your instincts, you had such great instincts right on. And so applaud to you. Steve, next question we have, this one comes in from our friend Trish Carlisle. She says that they're having to put down Green Mountain Rosie and their mule Green Mountain Rosie, and just sad about it, asking, should we let our other mule Bella smell her or be near her when it's over? Wanted to see what your thoughts were.
If it makes you feel good, do it. It's going to be a little scary for the mule, of course. Usually around a dead animal, another dead animal, they can get pretty silly at times, and I know that simply because I've been around cattle and horses and wildlife. Okay, but really, what's going to happen is you need to now make sure your other mule is in a 20 by 20 stall, and you start spending time with that mule. You take the place of that other mule. Folks think they have to have a buddy. They have to have a pasture mate, they call it. Here's the problem with that. I've got clients now, get this, that have purchased a goat or purchased a Shetland pony or purchased a donkey to be a pasture mate. Now, they can't go anywhere without that goat, donkey, or Shetland pony. Anywhere. Otherwise, their mule, their donkey goes binoculars. Yeah. So don't do that, okay? It's easy enough for them to do. It's easy enough you can never break what God gave that mule or donkey to be, okay? they are going to want to be with their own prey animals. So as far as, putting her down, I'm sorry to hear that. That's a heartbreaker. And I've been there, done that a lot. And so, yeah, it's tough. And I'll tell you what, there's among the working cowboy world, if you have one of your friends say, Steve, put my old horse down for me. Yep. That's the greatest honor in the world. It's tough. I've put down some horses that, man, I've been with them. I've seen them in tough places and I've seen them do good. And to have to put them down is tough, but yet it's honorable. Okay. Simply because they don't want to see him suffer. So I know you're going to miss that mule, and I know exactly what that feels like. But going back to your other one, go spend time with that mule. You make up. You take him for walks. You ride him. You spend time with him. Yeah, he's going to be calling out looking for his buddy, but you be the buddy. Happy trails to you.
Thanks for sharing, Trish. Next question we had. This one comes in from Tommy. Tommy says, from Alabama, when will you be close to us for a clinic? Alabama, Tennessee, Georgia, Mississippi, Louisiana? Thanks in advance. And so, Tommy, I wanted to let you know, and I want to let everybody know, you included watching right now, that Steve does have a single clinic on the calendar for 2024. Steve will be in Tennessee, Shelbyville, Tennessee, towards the end of September. He will be there doing a clinic as a part of the American Mule and Bluegrass Festival. This is the third year in a row, I think, of the clinic, but the third year for sure that Steve has gone. And it's an incredible event. I'm going to put a link in the comment section about this event. There's something for everyone. Families, parents, grandparents, kids, little kids, teenagers. There's something for everyone. It is a wonderful event. And if y'all have time to get out there towards the end of September, you sure will enjoy it. This year, the event is money is going to support some of the incredible Christian ministries that Marty Ray Gordon is partnering with. He's the founder of the event. He's partnering with some amazing Christian ministries, and they're raising support for some good causes. Steve, anything else you want to say about the American Mule and Bluegrass Festival?
No, I appreciate you putting that part in there, Dave. I'm actually going to do Cowboy Church there this year, and here's what I'm going to speak on. The devil didn't make you do it. The devil didn't make you do it. So that's going to be what I'm going to be speaking on at Cowboy Church on Sunday there, and we're going to be there. We're going to have saddles and riggings. You're going to see all kinds of people. You're going to hear a lot of good bluegrass. You're going to see all kinds of mules. And Marty Ray really is putting forth the effort. He's got the heart of a mule rider. I mean, the heart of it.
Awesome. Now, speaking of connecting with Steve, I want to let you all know we're going to keep this out there from time to time because I don't want anyone being fooled. You're good people, we're good people, and we want to make sure the bad people don't get access to the good people, at least not when they're trying to deceive us and pretend to be Steve Edwards on Facebook. So I just want to give you all a heads up that last year, Steve's Facebook was hacked. Now, I've shared this already with some of y'all. For some, this is going to be the first time. Queen Valley Mule Ranch is the official Facebook page. Steve Edwards, this guy right here, he does not have a Facebook page that he is in control of. So if y'all are trying to connect with Steve and you're sending messages or more dubiously receiving messages from Steve Edwards on Facebook as of right now, it is somebody trying to be Steve Edwards. And let's face it, being Steve Edwards is a lot of fun. You got yourself mules, you got yourself a gal, you got yourself a great life in Arizona, you got yourself friends all across the world who love mules and donkeys, you got smoked salmon. Let's face it, it is a good life. It's a life blessed by the Lord. But there is only one Steve Edwards, Queen Valley Mule Ranch, and he is not contacting you on Facebook. So if you get a message from someone on Facebook pretending to be Steve Edwards, just say, I know better than that. I know that he's going to contact me through Queen Valley Mule Ranch on Facebook. So just a heads up, want to make sure that y'all know that because like I said, you're good people and we want good things happening to good people. Hey, I want to say hello to Sherman Johnson, watching from Norman, Oklahoma, 90 degrees. Nice fish, Dave. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. I am very proud of my catch, and I will be eating some very, very soon. I want to say hello to Pat, triple digits in Aberdeen, North Carolina, with killer humidity. Hopefully that'll do wonders for your skin, though. All of that moisture in the air, keep it from drying out. Pat, let's see. Jane is watching from North Florida, where it's hot and humid, 90 degrees. Bill says, I've been using 707 products for fly control and a calming pellet with good results for both products, allowing about 2 weeks to get it working. So 707 products for fly control and a calming pellet. There you go. Recommendations from Bill. Christina is watching from Alberta, Canada. We've gone international again. Lane watching from sunny Central Oregon. What is the downside? Riding in your Marty within the first 20 minutes in the first hour. Did I miss something there? Lane, give us. Hey, I was raised on the Arizona English. And I know that the Oregon English is a little bit different. So if you could just write it again and make it a little bit more simple for me. I'm a little bit more simple-minded. Christina says, congrats on the fish, Dave. Kevin is watching. Stephen Dave, it's hot and humid in Wichita, Kansas. Hey, here we go. David Scholl. Good morning from God's country. That is Australia. Good to have you here. Mark Williams, Virginia, 85 and sunny. Kevin says the pic I sent you, Steve. Kevin Sparks. Does that sweat stain show how good a saddle fits? Do you know what he's talking about there, Steve?
Yeah, he sent me a picture of big old sweat marks on his mule and this sort of thing. He said, this really shows how well your saddle fit. Well, it shows me that you had a heck of a humid day that day because you don't always have that much sweat. And the reason I say that, folks, is we can't go by wet stains, wet spots and this sort of thing, dry spots, to say a saddle fits. What you can say is, okay, we got sweat and that's good. That's lubrication and that's cooling. But what I did notice, is the front cinch was more prevalent being wetter than the back cinch. Now, when I see that, it tells me that the back cinch is not quite tight enough and the front cinch is too tight. Yeah, that's a possibility, but it's a little bit difficult because I wasn't there to take the saddle off, okay? But anytime that you see heavy sweat marks, that's good. You know, more sweats, the better. Matter of fact, Dave, when we do the webinar, you're going to see white marks, the whole bar you can see across there, white. Does that mean that whole bar doesn't fit? No, that means that was a real heavy moisture day. It happened to be up in Washington, okay? And she scalded that animal bad, and she used a solid rubber pad, which didn't allow the escape of heat. And anyway, you'll see the picture. It's pretty unique. So, here it is. Why are there white marks on my mule? Okay, I hear that a lot, folks. Everybody says, oh, saddle, your saddle created the problems. Well, you'll see. I just got a guy that just sent me some pictures. I sent them to you, Dave. And he says, man, look at the white marks on this animal, you know? And I said, man, where's your breeching? Man, where's your breast collar? Those all hold the saddle into place, folks. Well, Steve, it's flat ground. I don't care. Flat ground or not, you have to have a breeching on these saddles to balance the saddle. You have to, okay? What else did I see? He took and put a big old fluffy imitation wool cinch on the front. And you could see on that right leg of that mule, big old spot about that big that had just where to hide right off it from that sorry cinch. Anyway, we're going to learn a lot in that webinar, Dave. But hey, I appreciate him sending me that picture. Like I told him, send me some other pictures of the saddle on the mule. That'd be great too. And make sure, if you do anything at all, make sure that back cinch is tightest, front cinch is the loosest.
So, folks, I just put a link in the comments section. Y'all sign up right now before you forget. It's free. As soon as you sign up, we're going to send you a link where you're going to be able to watch the webinar next Wednesday. And if you cannot join us live, we want you there live. Make no mistake. It'd be great to have you there live. We really love connecting with folks. This internet thing doesn't have to be impersonal. It doesn't have to be robotic. As a matter of fact, there's a lot of really good things that come out of it. And we believe connecting with you is one of the good things that comes out of it. So be sure to sign up. It's free. We'll send you a link on where to watch. If you can't stay the whole time, if you come late or you need to watch the whole thing later, we're going to send you a link to do that. And it's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be informative, but most of all, we're going to combine the fun and informative, and you just got a better life with your mule. Your mule is going to thank you too. Donkeys too. Don't forget the donkey. Steve, next question. This one comes in from over on Facebook. Crazy question, but it's based on what we've experienced. First of all, the come along rope we purchased is a game changer. He's been very receptive to it when I've used it. However, when we stopped using it after, when we stopped using it after I laid it over his hip and he physically stiffened up, backed completely out of it, and moved as far away from me as possible while still on the come along hitch. I stood there watching him, observing his body language, and waited for him to relax because I once saw his breathing become hyperventilating and panicked. It's hard to explain. After he relaxed, I walked up to him. His breathing was better, and though he was wide-eyed, his head was not high. I pet him, and he let out a big release of air. I finished with walking and turning left and right and backing. After a few more minutes, I hosed his feet and legs with the garden hose since he had been really hot there. It took me about 5 weeks for him to allow to touch his hips and back legs. This evening, as I was brushing our donkey with my mule within 6 feet, my daughter walked up to our mule wearing her cowgirl hat, and he got away from her fast. She felt bad for spooking him, but I told her thank you because it's important to know. Given his past environments, that shouldn't have been an issue. We left him alone, and shortly afterward, he came up to my daughter, who was standing right next to me. He sniffed her, and then the hat a few times before messing with it, quickly getting over it. My first thought is he's had a really bad experience with cowboy hats. Haven't we all? The day before she wore it, I wore it while riding her horse, and more than once he was hollering when she was close by, although he never got near her. Maybe I'm overthinking it, but is it far-fetched to entertain the concern over a hat? My solution is for me to wear her hat to create positive experience. Ball caps don't bother him. So this is really a question about desensitizing, I think, Steve. And, well, what would you say here? Because this is the same type of reaction, to a bobcat, to a 18-wheeler, to a Schwinn bike? What would you say here?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you got to remember, these animals are prey animals. Flight and fright kicks them, especially if something catches them off guard. All of a sudden, something catches their eye. They have to be concerned about it, and they're going to keep their eye on it until they start seeing it's not going to be a problem, i.e. what happened? The mule walked up to the daughter and sniffed. Yeah, okay. Now, my wife and I are in the house. She's working away in the kitchen. She knows I'm in the house, okay? We've been married 56 years. She knows I'm around, right? Yeah, 56 years. And I come around in the kitchen and I say, honey, wait a minute. She knows my voice. She knows I'm in the house. She knows me. On and on and on. What happened? She was on her little zone in her own little world, and life was good. But when something caught her off guard, you got the idea? It kind of buggered her a little bit. She knows me. So you cannot do enough. All right, let's do it this way. You're going to desensitize for rattlesnakes. How many rattlesnakes can you put in a pen? Oh. Or wait a minute, elk hides. What about, since I'm going to be hunting elk, maybe I should put an elk hide over the fence. Then he'll smell elk. No. All that is incorrect. I'm going to tell you that, let's just take, for instance, let's do this. when I was at the Grand Canyon packing freight down there, and we went to the World Championships at Bishop, California. When we went to the World Championships, we were going to be competing against some of the best packers in the world. Some of the best. Those guys are good. Yosemite were just absolutely incredible. Got it? We get there. We wanted to have the best mules, so we chose the best mules. And we get there all ready to go, and we're starting to pack. Guess what we didn't have? 10,000 people up in the bleachers, yelling and screaming and music blasting. Now, we had music blasting when we trained, but we didn't have 10,000 people. See, what I'm saying is you cannot desensitize, folks. You can't do it. Okay, what about me at the Phoenix Zoo? What do I have at the Phoenix Zoo? Elephants, giraffes, rhinos, monkeys. Yeah. Yeah. So you don't think it wasn't a training episode to try to get them to go by where a lion was smelling and going, whoa. What did I do? I used the come along rope. And it didn't make any difference if I went by that lion 100 times. They would still kind of booger away from it. Going down the Grand Canyon. All right. They've seen mules that I rode. Have seen 1,000 packers, backpackers, all kinds of backpacks on their back. Now we ride right along the edge. The hikers walk on the wall side so we don't knock them off. And it was inevitable. Some little pack outfit that was on somebody or some person or some color or some flopping, who knows what it was, but that mule wasn't going to go past that person, no way in the world. Seen thousands of packers, thousands of them, but I ain't going to go, no. I have to have that person go over against the wall and just watch me go by as my mule was looking like this the whole time, and the Grand Canyon is right here. Yeah. Or like I'm going through a gate up in Prescott, and there's this stump. That stump had been there for 50, 60 years probably. And it had been there ever since I was on that ranch going riding in and out. This mule had rode in and out of that gate hundreds of times. Stump still there. One day we come up to open that gate, and that mule wouldn't go nowhere near that gate. Looking at that stump going, what's going on? It's the same stump. What it was, there was a little blade of grass that was kind of flopping in the wind. And that mule saw that blade of grass and was concerned about it. Oh, Steve, that's okay. I'll give you another. At the Phoenix Zoo, we had a trail set out, an interpretive trail. And we'd say, this is a cactus, this is a sage, and this is this, that. And the people would be on the mule, and we would walk the mule, and the people would sit on a bareback pad, because I didn't want people in stirrups because of the safety. And one day the Pima Indian tribe come and wanted to take some broken pieces of pottery and put it around and talk about the interpretive trail. And the zoo manager said to me, what do you think, Steve? I said, that's good. I said, but let me take my mules around so that they'll start getting an idea. Oh, well, they ain't going to care. Oh, yeah, come on. He went with me. He led a mule. Neither one of them mules, as they were going by there, they were looking at that going, no, wait a minute. That's never been on the trail before. They knew every square inch of that trail. It's not that it buggered them, but they had questions about it. What's going on? What is that stuff? Okay? No big deal to you and I, but to them it was something new. So, can you desensitize? No. Can you wear your daughter's hat? It ain't going to change a bit of thing. The best thing you can do is to use that come along hitch, use your natural ability to bump, and to get them squared away.
Great question. Thanks so much. Appreciate it. JR's got a question. Can you explain how to train a mule to lay down?
You know what, JR? Don't waste your time doing that. Okay? The reason they laid him down years ago was to be submissive. If they had an animal that was hard to deal with, they threw them on the ground, wadded them up, tied their legs up, threw a tarp over them, let them spend 2 or 3 hours that way. It's a horrible way of training. Other reason they laid them down is because that's what the army would use. They'd lay their horses down so that they could use them to hide behind to shoot them. Of course, that's when horses were worth $5. You know, a lot of times they even shot the horse to get him to go down so that they'd be able to protect themselves back behind the horse from the Indians and the other guys attacking them. The people that are doing that, okay, they're enjoying it and let them do it. That's fine. Don't do that to your mule, because here's the deal. That mule's got a spine. That mule's got hips. And when they try to lift you up, coming up out of that saddle, they have to lift up more than what they were designed for. They were designed to only get up with just their main body. Now we got 300 pounds on them, a 200-pound man, 50-pound saddle. And I tell you what, I've had people tell me that they've knocked hips out and they knocked vertebrae out of their vertebrae, and they have to have the chiropractor line them back up. Don't do that. Don't waste your time. You know what you need to do your time with? Teach the mule how to be light, how to work on your legs, 80% off your legs, how to side pass, turn on the forehand, turn on the hindquarters. Do something besides showing off. Yep, it's showing off. Do something that works good, okay? Do something that when you go down the trail, you can use it. You can side pass to get out of the way to help somebody in, because you can't go around in a circle, okay? Teach them to do that. Don't bother with this, laying them down, folks. That is not good for the animal, and it's not going to do a bit of good for you.
Good question. Lane's watching from Central Oregon, says, can I ride in your Martingale all the time?
There we go. You can ride in the Martingale a lot. Not all the time. It is not a final bit. Remember, Lane, we always want to be easier, softer on the mule. Okay? And we want to always try to do the very best. What's the best thing for them? So when we go into the finish bit, the trail rider bit, now we're developing palate communication. Okay? And we're using the bars, and we're being lighter. We can use one hand. The Martingale is meant to be used 2 hands, and it's meant to either fix a problem, okay, or build a foundation. That's what its main thing is for. I usually ride in a Martingale my first 6 months, and I spend time with that mule first 6 months, riding on the side of a mountain, punching cows, hunting, whatever. Okay, now, as I can progress, and I want to progress, I want to be lighter. I want less to get more. Okay, now, when I'm riding in the Martingale, I'm not using my legs at all. My legs are completely quiet, and I'm only using my hands. When I'm riding in the Martingale, I am riding with direct reins, so I have 2 reins, 1 in each hand. Okay? I'm riding with 1 in each hand. Direct reining. Direction, impulsion. Okay? Now, back up, right, left, this sort of thing, 2 hands. The day I can one-handed back up, go to the right, go to the left, and stop is the day I can start introducing my trail rider bit to my mule. Now, you hear that? Introducing 3, 6, 9, 12. And finally, I'm riding. Now, if I'm going to go do something new, like for instance, when I went into Egypt on the Sinai Desert, I didn't want to take my finished bit because that mule that I was going to be riding wasn't a finished mule. So I rode in my Martingale. If I'm going to be here in Arizona and I'm going to go help one of my buddies working their cattle, because it's such a different atmosphere and it's a training process for me, I will go ahead and use my mule rider's Martingale my first maybe few hours or maybe my first day, and then I may go on into my finished bit and use it for a while. Depends on how my mule is acting. The thing about the Martingale is it sets the nose in the head. And that's what's really important. It keeps them from getting out of sort.
Awesome. Good question. Let's see here. Leslie asked the question, where should the cinch ring be? I think I'm getting mine too high. I'm going to look for a YouTube video here real quick. But while I'm doing that, you have any comments you can give?
Okay, the cinch ring doesn't have to be in a particular place. All right. You don't want it on the very bottom, of course, but you want it even on each side. So when I look at the right and I look at the left, I'm going to see I've got 4 to 6 inches. I'm good. If I've got 10 inches, I'm good. And get this, even if I have 12 inches, I'm still good. Okay. But what I don't want to do is have the D-rings on the bottom pushing up. I want them on the side. Now, some animals are thicker and some animals are thinner. On my saddles, if you carry a 34 on the front, you're probably going to put a 38 on the back, maybe a 36. Why is that? 2 things. One, because of the way the mule is made. Okay? The way the mule is made. The mule is wider at the back, narrow at the front. They're V-shaped in their shoulders. Okay? Well, you can get an idea right there. There you go. Okay? You see where those D-rings are? That's about the average place I would want them. Can I go lower? Yes. Okay? But if you notice where they are, these happen to be just about even on each side. They don't have to be, but they can be. Good picture, Dave.
Awesome. Thanks for the question. Kimberly is watching from East Maryland, 102 hot and humid. Laura says, seeing the video of saddle fitting would be awesome. I sent it in the comment section there, Laura. Can you confirm you got it? David Pengelly, hot day here in Manchester, Georgia. I have 2 Steve Edwards saddles and I wouldn't ride anything else. Trail riders and ultralight, love them both. Mark Williams, I have 2 Steve Edwards saddles and my mules are 200 or 300 pounds different in size. Been riding the saddles 20 years and have never had any trouble. Still holding up very well. I very well recommend you try one. You won't be disappointed. Make sure you get the breast collar and breechin. It won't work without them. And the beta bridle is as good as the saddle. There you go. Let's see here. Love hearing that. Thank you, Mark. Laura says, is there any chance to teach a donkey to do flying changes of gallop? I have been told over and over that they are not physically capable of doing it. What is flying changes of gallop?
Okay. So, that salmon sure is good.
I was just about to say, if folks are just joining in, the first 15 minutes of the program was just Steve eating smoked salmon. So go back and watch that. You'll be entertained.
Yeah. So, a gallop, a canter, they're the same thing. What it amounts to is it's a lead. So I'm going to go around in a circle to the right, clockwise. So my right lead comes out. Okay? And I'm going around the right, and I come around to like where I'm going to do a figure 8, and I'm going to change and go counterclockwise. That's called a flying lead change. And I go from going in the right side, and now I go to the left. My left front has to be out to go in a flying lead change to the left, flying lead change to the right, and my right leg goes out. Okay? Can a donkey do it? Yes. I had trained Strawberry, which was a pretty nice donkey that was 16 2 hands high. So she was a mammoth, and she could do a flying light lead change. She could do a sliding stop. Wasn't real pretty, but she could do it. The biggest problem with donkeys is they don't have a lot of hip, and they don't have a good heavy gasket muscle. So that's really important. When you got a donkey with a nice round hip and good clean gasket muscle, kind of like David Shaw has in Australia, he's flat got it. That turns out a nice mule. But can a donkey do flying lead changes? Yes. Okay. I even have them do the same patterns for reining, a reining pattern, where they have to go around and stop and turn, do rollbacks and this sort of thing. They can do it. They just don't have enough hip. And some donkeys, they can do it, but it depends on the rider, you all. Okay. Depends on the rider. If if the rider is capable of doing the flying lead change, then you bet the donkey can do it.
Kaylee wrote back about the Kelso. Says, thank you so much for the update and the feedback. Kelso's name, no, did not purchase from the Kelso brothers. I actually bought him from a local friend of mine in North Houston. His name is from the television program That 70s Show, Ashton Kutcher's character, Kelso. So I thought that was pretty funny. She says, thanks again and happy to have this resource to reach out again for the future. Absolutely, Kaylee. That's why we're here. Steve doesn't have to do this. We don't have to do this. Truthfully, a lot of this comes from the desire to take. Steve is the product. He would tell you this. Steve is the product of all sorts of cowboys and just wise people investing in him, training him, teaching him. Now, those cowboys didn't have YouTube or Facebook or Instagram or the internet. And so everything that they knew was passed along through people like Steve. Well, Steve has me. And guess what I know how to do? The internet. So Steve and I partner up to do this to get as much of what Steve has learned as well as much of what has been taught to him generations past onto the internet to outlive the both of us. That's what our hope is. And so if you do have any more questions, please get back to us. Man, creation is just amazing. And when you learn how to leverage these animals that God created, different, unique. That's what I find so amazing, Steve, is that God already knows all these things. And we are just finding out about them here and now. We're catching up to where he has been all of the time. So when you learn these things about how God has made them, it's invigorating. It's exciting. It's a lot of fun. And we hope that you get to benefit from creation just like we were intended to. Jane says, I have 2 complete saddle sets of Steve, and I love them. It's all I ride with. Rory says, late, but here waiting for a storm in Southwest Ohio. Bill says, it's the last thing you can do for them, I guess. Let's see here. Rory, FYI, I have tickets and accommodations for Shelbyville. Bill, Rose, and I will be there. There we go. Things are happening. David Pengelly, we were able to rescue my wife's mule. Came back really rough and underweight. He's 15 and has lost his roundness. Can he get it back? What feed would you recommend? Thanks.
Well, of course, now, folks, when I'm trying to get their weight back on them and trying to get them back in condition, I'm going to feed them according to their need. If they're just standing around in the corral, they're going to get 6 pounds in the morning, 6 pounds in the afternoon. He's a 1,200-pound animal. So I usually say, okay, 1,200 pounds, 6 pounds in the morning, 6 pounds at night, total of 12 pounds for a 1,200-pound animal. That's what I do in general. Now, when I go to ride, I take my morale, okay, and I fill it full of whole oats, and I put it on their nose. It's, and then I start letting them eat. And they're not tied to no hitching post, nothing. They got that morale on their nose. That's called a feed bag. It's called a nose bag. A lot of different names. The Mexicans call them morales, the morale. And so I'll put that on there. And what that does is that gives them energy and helps keep their top line going. Okay. Now we got to be careful when we are feeding whole oats. We only want to feed the whole oats when we're getting ready to go ride. It's going to give them the energy and this sort of thing. Now, should they start finding monsters on the trail, back off of the whole oats. Okay? Back off of it. Otherwise, you see my feeding program there in the video and the article called Mules Can't Stand Prosperity. You can take that feed, go into your feed store and say, hey, what have we got here similar to it? Don't send me the ingredients and say, hey, Steve, what do you think? Just use it as your baseline and then feed from there and see how the meal does, okay? But remember, when they're just standing around, they don't need to just be eating all the time, folks. Now, I'll take my babies and I'll have feed in front of them all the time, them babies, okay? But my older animals, I'm going to feed them accordingly. Make sure their teeth are floated. Very, very important. Get the chiropractor on them. Make sure their backs and their legs and their hips are all correct. Very, very important. But their teeth, especially as a 15-year-old, they really need to make sure they get floated. But otherwise, just go by that feeding program I have in there as your baseline, and it'll give you a pretty good idea where to start.
I'll put the link in the comment section. Y'all can check that out. Steve, I didn't even realize it. It's 4:11. We're almost done. Do you have a couple more minutes?
Sure, you bet. You bet.
All right.
Having
Edna
fun.
is watching from Spring Hill, Florida. Still hot and humid, 90 degrees. Tamar's watching from Mount Marshall. Hey. Oh, wrong one. Wrong one. There we go. We've gone international again and again. Thank you, Tamar. Good to hear from you, rainy and cold. Of course, yes, we do have all sorts of free stuff available at muleranch.com. Rory says, I had a mule that if I walked out with my rain slicker on, he would bolt as far away as possible. Ned never did get him over it. So, of course, talking about how they're fright and flight. They see something, boom, that's it. You can't desensitize for it. You just got to learn how to communicate with them.
And let me add to that.
What's that?
Okay? And let me add to that.
Go for it.
You'll see out here we have our slickers tied across the back. And I've seen more than one person get themselves bucked off trying to put their jacket on or their slicker on instead of getting off, putting the slicker on and then getting back on. I got a buddy of mine that was back in the mountains by himself, had a strike of lightning hit. It boogered the animal when he was trying to put his slicker on. He hit the ground and got a bunch of busted ribs. So there you are, you know.
All right. Let's see here. Jim is watching from Western Maryland, 80 degrees. Got here late, but we'll watch the replay for sure. I know you will, Jim. You always do. Love seeing you on Facebook and YouTube. Hannah from Dunedin, Florida, 89 degrees here in Florida. The storms are a-coming. God bless America, she says. Absolutely, God bless America. And really, really appreciate just man, how America tends to come together when there's something as tragic as what was attempted earlier this week. So right on the money there, Hannah. God bless America. Leslie says thank you. Now we're done. Steve, do you have anything else you want to say about today's program other than you love smoked salmon?
Oh, man, the smoked salmon. I can't wait to get that smoked salmon. Hey, I'll tell you what I'll do. We'll get together. I'll make sure you got some moose burger, and I will get some salmon from you. How about that?
Boom, shakalaka, boom. I'll take it.
Yeah, I'm going to be coming into town Friday, so we may get together. I'll give you a holler.
Hey, yeah, if you do, that'd be great. I'd really enjoy that, and of course, I'll be around on Friday. So
perfect.
Awesome. Right. Well, sorry y'all had to sit in, me and Steve coordinating our schedules. But I think maybe you'll appreciate that Steve and I enjoy being together. We enjoy talking. We enjoy hanging out. And he's like a second father to me. And I don't want to speak for him, but he has said that I am like a son to him. So we do get along. It is fun to be together and do this each and every week. Steve, thanks again. Appreciate it. Any last words?
Pray for America. Pray for America. You know, this country is based on blessed is the country whose God is the Lord, and Jesus is Lord, and we can't let these pagans try to take it away from us. So be praying and be voting. God bless you. Bye-bye.
Take care, everyone. Bye-bye now.